Ha! Ahoy! Valentine's Day is a day of love, spending time with the person that means most to you. So I wonder what my girlfriend was up to because I spent my Valentine's Day with Lara.
Tomb Raider is one of the earliest games I ever played. My family had an old PC and on it my dad installed numerous games that would go on to define my early childhood. Games like Doom 3, Max Payne, Battlefield 2, and a handful of early Tomb Raider titles. I played these games so much back in the day, with the two getting most of my attention being Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider The Lost Artifact. Those were super fun adventures with gigantic levels and sick action sequences that took you all around the world and put you in such varied environments. The original Tomb Raider games were truly something special, and it's why it broke my heart when my family switched to Apple.
Fortunately, I was already transitioning towards being a console gamer, so that cushioned the blow. But still, I'd be missing the Tomb Raider games and spending my time visualizing the levels, being able to perfectly mentally map out these areas that I spent hours and hours in. I didn't just love the games, I was obsessed with them. These would make great wedding vows.
Many years later, when my girlfriend moved in with me, she brought over her old PlayStation 2, which now made it my PlayStation 2. And with that, I got Tomb Raider 2 on the PlayStation 1, and while I was happy to be able to play Tomb Raider again,
not like this.
It wasn't the best way to play. The PS1 struggled with the size of the game, causing every wall to have the shaky leg. You weren't able to save wherever you wanted, and having to play an intensive platforming game on a controller when I'm internally programmed to play it on a keyboard caused me to have an unhandled acceptance. It wasn't the best way for me to play Tomb Raider, but it was a good enough option in case I needed a fix. Sadly, no expansion packs, as those were PC exclusives. But then, in September, it was announced that the original Tomb Raider trilogy, along with all the expansion packs, were being remastered and brought to modern consoles, including the Nintendo Switch!
The happiness I felt is dopamine I don't think I'll ever feel again. The games that defined my childhood were being brought back to life, and it took damn well long enough. Plenty of other PS1 trilogies got the remastered treatment, Spyro, Crash, so it's about damn time Lara got hers. I haven't been this excited for a re-release in years. It was the first time in a very long time I would spend my time scouring the internet for any pictures or information, drooling over anything I could find. And when other YouTubers would have early access to the game, I'd just be glued to the screen watching it, admiring every inch. I don't remember the last game I did that for. Listen, being an adult is a lame venture. Don't do it. Time goes by so quickly, but the moment I saw the trailer to its release date was the slowest amount of time I've ever experienced.
Now, unfortunately, the games are only digital releases, which means...
Fuck.
I have a video on cue talking about my hatred for digital games, so I won't go into it now. But this is a rare exception of me being okay with owning a digital game because I pre-ordered it when it became available and saw the software be installed on my Switch and was waiting till midnight to be able to play the game the second it's available rather than wait for Amazon shipping. But once it was time, I spent 9 fucking hours getting this screen. So it's 10 in the morning on Valentine's Day and I'm seeing people already uploading full fucking walkthroughs of the game. And I'm sitting here wondering, A, how are these people doing this? My Mortal Kombat 3 video that was almost an hour long took me days to get it to upload. And B, how the fuck are they playing it already? Realizing my Switch was skipping me from Lara while others got theirs made me run to the PS5 where I bought the game again and fuck yeah, I got to play it. The Switch version eventually became playable later into the night, so now I own the game twice. And if they ever release it physically, please, I'll get that on Xbox and own every console version.
Now there's been a lot of talk and yet so little review. Well, here's the thing. I intend on covering every single Tomb Raider individually, kind of like what I'm doing with Mortal Kombat right now. Here, I'm just giving some quick thoughts on what I think of the Remastered trilogy as a package.
So when starting up the game, we are given the Tomb Raider 1 home screen, but by pressing either up or down, it'll scroll you to the other Tomb Raider game's title screen, which is how you select which game you want to play. When selecting the passports on each game, it'll give you the option of either starting the main campaign or playing the expansion pack, which, oh yes! Now if it feels silly to be this excited over expansion packs, keep in mind the expansion packs for the old Tomb Raider games, Unfinished Business, The Golden Mask, and The Lost Artifact, were all such incredible experiences. They were still large levels that despite lacking the quantity made up for in quality, cause some of the levels in these expansion packs were super fucking fun, and I can't wait to fully dive into them in the future. But anyway, let's jump in. The three main talking points I want to get into are visuals, controls, and new features. Let's start with the visuals. So this isn't a remake like what Tomb Raider Anniversary was to Tomb Raider 1, or what Spyro Reignited Trilogy was to Spyro. Instead, this game's remastered visuals are more like taking a cheese grater to all the game's rough edges. Now that statement is fair in some cases and not fair in others. Lara's character model, along with every other character model in the game, is smoothed out. I like how she looks and the enemies look alright, if they look like Disney villains. Though the human villains don't look as sinister as they should be. Like Pierre Dupont is looking way too cute right now.
Whew, it's hot in here.
But I'm less concerned about Lara and more care about the levels, as that's what I'm mostly here for. So the goal of the remaster was to maintain the level structure and geometric layout while improving textures and adding elements to make the game feel more alive. And boy did they do just that. The first level I played with the remastered trilogy was the Great Wall of China in Tomb Raider 2, and right off the bat I am so beyond pleasantly surprised with all the fun details they add. Stuff like adding spider webs and grass and other objects to make the place feel more natural, along with other small details like adding depth or clarity with certain decor and adding background terrain like these trees that did so much to make the level look better. Tomb Raider 1 didn't have a skybox, so in every outdoor scene it would just be pitch black skies, and here they finally got a sky. I miss this. Lighting effects was also something the game put a lot of focus on, and they did splendid. Items and pickups are full 3D models now instead of being 2D sprites that rotate with the camera, and other cool stuff like puddles of water, mud tracks under Lara's feet, and when you're in the South Pacific Islands, when on shore they add small waves crashing onto the beach. It's tiny love-filled details like that that make me truly happy. But then I wonder,
what happened to the rest of the game?
See, Great Wall of China was such a perfect blend of a freshen up yet still being overly faithful to the OG title. It made me look forward to seeing how they freshen up future levels like 40 Fathoms, Tibet, Barkhane Monastery, Temple of Qian, and the Floating Islands. But when I got to those levels I was so disappointed, because all that love and detail they put into the first level wasn't anywhere in future levels. They didn't add any extra terrain or cool weather effects, all they did was just improve textures. At the start of 40 Fathoms, I was so disappointed to see that they didn't add any coral or at the very least more rocks. And with Tibet, they also didn't really do anything. Like damn, not even a snowing effect? All the effort in the beginning that disappears as the game progresses is similar to when you're writing an essay. You know, you make the most captivating introduction written by man before bullshitting the body paragraphs and a scrap together two-sentence conclusion. And the Lost Artifact didn't have anything new added at all. I often found myself playing the game and toggling the new graphics and the old graphics to see if anything was new, but no, and it leaves me a little sad. Tomb Raider 3 is the game that feels like it had the most levels with that extra love and details put in, but here they actually overdid it cause Tomb Raider 3 is such a hard game with such large and complex levels that all the extra clutter made it harder to navigate. Also, some of the new models for keys are way too hard to see. I only found this one cause I toggled the old graphics. And while the lighting is better, it also makes a lot of places darker. I find myself toggling the graphics with the older style just so that I can see better. And the water effects, I'm not a fan of at all. See, out of water it looks fine, but in water, looking out, you can't tell when you're near the surface. Sometimes I'm swimming and suddenly I'm not. There is no running river effect if there ever was water with a strong current. It looks harmless to the unknowing eye, but you jump in and then oh fuck.
Now, I hate that I'm ragging on the game right now. I don't want to. I love that this exists. But I have to admit that most of the time playing this, it felt more like a port rather than a remaster. When the game has that full love given, it's amazing to look at. But when it's not, it's kind of disappointing.
So I mentioned toggling the visuals. Yes, at any point when playing, by pressing start you will switch from new visuals to old and vice versa. And it's great that they included this in case you want to truly play the older games. And the fact that you can do it so easily on a whim is great. But now let's talk about the controls. So adjusting to playing the game on the controller was once again, especially with the button layout they initially provide. Well, thank God for button mapping. Now the age-old saying is that the controls are good once you get used to it. But the thing about Tomb Raider is that the original games had some stiff controls. Like needing to time jumps was tough because of how delayed Lara's jump is at times, and sometimes making certain jumps needed the most precise timing. The camera's operation of being glued behind Lara and only shifts as she turns is a bit outdated, being labeled as tank controls. Well, the game tries to solve the problem by introducing something called modern controls. It basically means that the camera is fully in the player's control, and I don't really see a difference. But I will say, after spending a couple of hours on it, I got used to it. I can play the game just fine. The last new thing to talk about is the new features. The first feature I want to mention that I thought I wouldn't care for but actually ended up being very useful is the camera mode. Its purpose is to take pictures of Lara, but the actual use of the camera mode is the free roam that lets you openly look around the area. This was so useful to me when it came to getting a better layout of the level to see what I wanted to do, or see if a high up platform I'm eyeing has any secrets that'll be worth my while. Other new features include health bars for bosses, which I didn't find necessary, but I understand why it's here. Tomb Raider bosses are bullet sponges, but sometimes it takes a while to take some of these guys down. At some point when jumping around and shooting, the thoughts of, am I actually doing anything, pop into your head. I remember when fighting the Cyber Demon in Doom 3, a game I owned 10 times, I used to empty all my ammo into it before realizing I needed the Soul Cube. So bosses having health bars? Good idea. And if you're not a fan, you can easily turn it off. The other new thing is these exclamation point indicators whenever you're near an item, switch, or something you can interact with. It's also fine, it's harmless, but it's very useful in the sense of finding secret walls, which these games have plenty of. The last new thing added isn't really on the Switch version, but is on PlayStation and Xbox: achievements and trophies. So I'm not a crazy achievement hunter, mostly because a lot of the time they are repetitive and require grinding. 250 of these, fight 100 of those, spill a bajillion gallons of blood, etc, etc. Bully is a game I really liked. I own it on PlayStation 4 and it has some fun trophies, but then it has others like getting a high score on arcade machines and kicking 100 soccer balls. Damn it, I don't have time to do these. If I was still 13 with nothing better to do, sure, I'll kill a day kicking soccer balls for a stupid virtual fucking trophy. But goddammit, I'm 25 now and I can't do this all day when I got dishes to do. Spyro Reignited Trilogy had awesome trophies that were basically just, hey, do this. And Tomb Raider had just those. It had trophies for every game and expansion pack, which totaled to over 200 trophies in the game to find. And a lot of these are just fun little actions or challenges. Get hit by the hammer, don't touch the water, kill the T-Rex, don't kill the T-Rex, try not to f*** the game, or find all the secrets. And that last one might sound like grinding, but the thing with Tomb Raider secrets is that they take you to really cool areas with worthwhile rewards. This is good grinding. Though there are some trophies that are way too vague in their description. I have one trophy left to find in the Lost Artifact, and all it says in its description is to honor Willard's ancestor. The f*** does that mean? I reached this one part in the first level where there were a bunch of tombstones that had Willard engraved on them. Are these it? If so, what am I supposed to do to honor them? Light a candle? Lower my head? Rub my ass on it? But anyway, I still love having the trilogy on PS5 because I can do achievement hunting. I love having the game on Switch because I can take the games with me everywhere I go. And I'll love having the game on Xbox because it means it's released physically. I can justify owning this game multiple times, unlike Doom 3, which I own 11 times.
Tomb Raider Trilogy is rough around the edges, which is fitting. The remastered aspect isn't here with the full package, which is kind of a bummer. And plus, it does tend to bug out a bit here and there, and at one point the game just full on crashed on me, twice, on both platforms. So the fact that I spent most of my time bitching, my real thought on this whole package is, I f***ing love that this exists. Now, do I think this is for everyone? No, actually.
When it comes to talking about older video games, people throw around how the game ages, but I determine whether or not a game aged poorly based on if people pick up the game today for the first time. Will they like it? And the classic Tomb Raider games? I don't think they are. Now, as I say these next few things, I want to perfectly reiterate how much I love these games. These levels are so engraved into my heart, so much so I looked up if I can legally marry a video game level. But I have to admit that I'm able to have this insane admiration and ease of playing because of how much time I've poured into these fucking things as a kid. But if I, as a stranger to the series, God forbid, picked it up for the first time, I don't know if I would have had as good a time. Because the Tomb Raider games basically just throw you into these massive areas for you to figure out what you need to do. There aren't objectives laid out on the screen telling you find keys to access this door, locate a switch to open the gate, find 3 wheels to finish the mechanism, get to the top of the structure. It just throws you into an area and says go. And sometimes there's just so much that you don't know where to start. You'll most likely spend time wandering around, going to the wrong areas, make no progress, and you'll lose interest. Sure, you can look up what to do, but that takes the fun out of an adventure. Tomb Raider 3 is insane for how difficult the game is that me, someone whose entire childhood was spent playing these games, couldn't get past the second level. So I can imagine anyone who has no experience trying to play Tomb Raider 3 not liking it.
Now here's the thing, I'm not trying to say that if you haven't played the games before, you shouldn't even bother trying. No, I think you should try the games out. People were able to do them in the 90s, so you can too. And this thing is reasonably priced at $30, so it's not too much. Unlike Nintendo, who in the same week as this, remastered a Game Boy Advance game and charged $50 for it. But anyway, I am beyond elated that this exists. I've waited half my life for something like this to come out. Tomb Raider Remastered is such an awesome thing that it's gotten me to almost want to try doing new types of content that I normally don't want to do. Live stream? Seems too hard. Oh, I could do lists ranking things about the games. But that's Axmania's job. Oh, I could do a playthrough. Megan's got that covered. Oh, maybe I'll do a smash or pass on Tomb Raider levels. No one's done that before. That's original. Let's do it.
Alright, we got the Tomb Raider smash or pass. I'm going to be looking at every single Tomb Raider level and deciding on whether or not it's a smash or pass. Alright, let's start with the first one. We got caves. Smash. City of Vilcabamba. Pass. The Lost Valley.